A lot of you have been wondering if the A's are a serious franchise. Maybe, maybe not. I don't think I'm personally in a position to weigh in on that, but I can tell you one thing. We're a serious podcast, and it's time to get serious about the A's. While things are starting to fall apart, remember that this is still Act 1 of the season. The table of contents we have thus far does not mean that it's part of the next movement of the team. If the A's truly step into the realm of how things are going, perhaps they'll find the spark, and then they'll be dynamite. Without a doubt, this is a rough stretch, which ain't saying nothing new. And the A's are in not just double trouble, but triple trouble with having three of their five starters hitting the IL. We can't act too down on them, but it's hard not to see this team as 100% done. It's do or die versus the dice for these guys, and hopefully some adrenaline will kick in the third acts of the season. Now, if you think I'm doing some puns here, you got me. But you don't see me be optimistic anymore because I long for the return to innocence for when I thought this team was actually good. But still, I must put on a brave face and act for our loyal fans. This is Funnyball. So one lump of coal. I'm going to give that to Tyler Nevin. So the clock that is Tyler Nevin's Cinderella run at the plate has struck midnight, and Nevin has turned back into a pumpkin. Now, once upon a time, Tyler Nevin led the team in batting average, and he actually rode a magical carriage also known as a several game hitting streak. And now we have the version of Tyler Nevin that has been riding the dumpy carriage of a several game hitless streak. And on top of that, it appears that his status as an everyday starter is tentative at best. I suppose such as life in the eternal A's platoon. And his defense has been up and down. We've seen him struggle at left field and third base, and he's been average defensively at first base and right field. Tyler Nevin, maybe he'll turn it around. We've stripped him of his captaincy. He stripped us of our humanity, and he's stripped himself of his watchability. Well, I don't know what's left.
Yeah, I will say probably the most tragic story of the A's season thus far, wink wink, is Tyler Nevin, only because he started out so hot and was just so unexpected out of nowhere. He came to the team. I can speak for myself. Pretty much, I think I'm speaking for both of us. Kind of hated on him a bit. Was in the mix of the whole Esteury Ruiz stuff where Ruiz was sent down and Nevin was what felt like at the time kind of taking up his spot on the roster. And then just out of nowhere, just a 350, 2-week sample. And then he is hitting second in the A's order and the hitter that I felt the best about. So yeah, this recent stretch of just one for whatever many at-bats it's been, like, just, yeah, super, not disappointing at all because he was just playing so far above his means, it felt like, to start, his A's tenure. I'm disappointed, for him, because I'm sure he was even seeing some stars, pun intended, at the beginning of the season. Just everything seemed to be clicking. And defensively, too, ironically, he's looked probably the best that he's looked in his entire major league career, primarily because he's playing first base a lot more, and I think he looks quite good over at first. The stats back it up. And again, just in terms of feeling good about a guy doing something on a baseball field, I felt good about him at the plate for a while, don't anymore, but I still feel good about him at first. So looking forward to seeing if he can kind of get out of this slump and just prove that this was an awful slump, because we won't even talk about what Corbin Carroll's doing right now, and he's a great baseball player. So even the best baseball players in the world can, go on runs like this. So we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, definitely deserves a lump, IMO.
It ain't fair.
It ain't fair. Life ain't fair. And talking about life ain't fair. Life wasn't fair for Max Schumann for a while when he wasn't really getting much recognition from us, I feel. So 1 star is going to go to Max. I'll just look here at his literal stats. 294 in the last 10 games, 763 OPS, has a home run, 4 RBIs, and just a good defensive player that whenever he's hitting, you just feel good. So I've been just very happy with how he's been doing recently. And I know I was kind of, oogling at his batting stance, whatever word. I was kind of in love with his swing and his swing path. And it's nice to see the results start to come from it. So, yeah, just a little recognition for a guy who it's not like he's done anything insane. It's not like he's had any incredible late game heroics or anything like that either. He's playing good defense, and he's really hitting the best that he's hit this season right now. So yeah, good on the shoe.
And the shoe's been holding down shortstop too. I think that's it's been a seamless transition from when Darryl Hernandez got hurt, and now it seems like he's really going to be out for the long term. So
yeah, 60-day IL right now.
Yeah, that job should be pretty much Schumann's for the foreseeable future, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. And the whole point here too is that not much. He's appeared in the last 10 games as well for a guy who definitely was struggling to just get into games. So yeah, it seems like if not on the shortstop position as a whole going forward, at least he has a stranglehold on pretty regular playing time, and can't complain, especially right now when he's hitting.
Yeah, no, go shoe. And he hit that home run on Mother's Day too, which that was pretty cool.
Shu loves moms.
So I guess we'll do 2 lumps. So we're going to move over to the hot corner on that note.
Yeah.
Shu loves moms. On that note.
Put it on a shirt.
Put it on a shirt. Shu loves moms. And so do we.
Yeah.
We're a pro moms pod.
Always.
Yeah.
Never forget it.
So 2 lumps of coal I'm going to give to Brett Harris. His time as the A's third baseman has come and gone. If you're a real Funnyball junkie, you would have seen the Brett Harris appreciation post that we put out for his rookie debut. Turns out that was just a flash in the pan. Abraham Toro has been just hitting so much better in the last 2 games of the Royals series. He got the start at third base. And, I mean, Brett Harris's plate stuff is just plate stuff. That's a new term I'm going to call his batting production. His plate stuff is just so yucky that, there's not really room in the lineup for him. And his defense actually hasn't been that bad, but he just can't hit. And just to kind of like show you how bad that is, in the 51 plate appearances Brett Harris has seen thus far, he's recorded 5 hits, 3 of which were home runs, 2 of which were in the same game.
Which was like one of the first games he played. So came a long while ago now.
Yeah. So he just hasn't seen much production at all. And it's gross. And there's other players on the roster who definitely have more potential hitting wise, like, Kyle McCann. Gelof's returning to the lineup. So they have people that, are going to push for more playing time because they generally have a history of actually being able to get some bat production. But
yeah, I mean, either way, it's just when a guy who has never performed at the big league level, when he's not performing, you don't have a lot of reasons to keep him in there unless he's like a top prospect or something like that. So Brett Harris, correct me, I don't know if you know, but I don't even know if he was a top 30 A's prospect. If he was not top 10. So, just go back down to the minors and continue to work, I guess.
He was actually the number 9 prospect for the A's.
Was he actually? I knew that one of these guys that I didn't know much about was definitely, I remember looking, being like, holy crap, he's number whatever. So it might have been Harris, but yeah, he wasn't even tearing up AAA for that matter. He had an 8-something OPS.
It was a bit of a surprising call up, actually. In my opinion,
a little bit. I mean, it's just his injury stuff.
Yeah, they were hurting for infielders, and I guess they considered him more ready than Jacob Wilson. But
Well, it's not even like with Wilson. It's just, yeah, you don't want to start his clock until you're really ready to start his clock, service time. So it's, yeah. Jacob Wilson's right. Jacob Wilson's top 5 hitter in this lineup if he's called up today.
yeah, he
I don't
actually
know
I
if
think
that's a hot take.
he hit the injured list in AAA though. With
Yeah.
knee
Well, I guess,
tendonitis.
yeah, if he's called up today, he probably can't take an at bat. But if he's called up in a month, I think he'd be a top 5 hitter. But yeah, and we'll talk about him a little bit later here. But there are some guys that definitely have stepped up in the lineup, and even though the lineup numbers I feel like have been like deceptively pretty awful recently, hitting under 200 for the last 14 games, I want to say. If not something like that, some stat under Mendoza line, and A's aren't good at hitting stat. So yeah, with the way some guys are playing, you're definitely going to have other guys that are not, like Brett Harris and such. So yeah, it's good 2 lumps. Maybe he rebounds, maybe one day Brett Harris will get his stars. But until then, lumps. But you want to hear who I'm giving 2 stars to?
Oh yeah, give me that.
Alrighty.
Give me that.
I'm going to hit you with 2 stars for Abraham Toro. I feel like Toro... I feel like I say this about a lot of guys, which either means I'm saying this too often or it means that like we are not honoring guys enough. But I feel like we don't even talk about Toro enough, or at least we don't give him enough recognition, especially with stars. And yeah, he's just been super steady recently, which that more than makes you a good A's hitter in my mind. He's hitting 302 in the last 10 games, has appeared in all of those games. Doesn't walk a lot, but never has. He's only getting on base. 333 is his on base percentage right now. 775 OPS in this time. But he just feels good for a hit every game.
Well,
you just feel good. He's gonna go the opposite way and just get you a hit. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say he leads the team in batting average, on base percentage, and hits. So
yeah,
there you go.
So there you go. That's a guy you feel good to get you a hit. Even has a home run in this stretch, but that's not what he's trusted to do, especially when he's leading off. So yeah, just into what's been a pretty awful stretch where just the A's, as I said, have lacked hits, just production period. A guy that's just consistently given you that, what used to be back, 10 years ago, but especially even longer ago than then, a total premium type player, a middle infielder hitting over 300, playing good defense. Like he used to be, he would have been maybe an all-star with these numbers if they continued on for much longer. So power to Abraham Toro. He's born in the wrong generation. And I hope he continues to just do what he's doing. Because if he could end the year and 270 something, maintain, a starting spot in the lineup, he's still deceptively, how young is he?
He's 27.
Yeah, like I feel like that's maybe the Astros effect, that anyone who's played for the Astros recently, it just ages them a few years in everyone's heads, at least mine. But yeah, he feels like a guy who should be 32 or 31, and like
I was surprised. I was surprised when I looked up his age too. I didn't expect. I figured that he was kind of like just a veteran journeyman who was like probably like 32 plus. But
yeah, not a perfect comp, but he like feels like Donovan Solano to me, who's just like a guy who's like, you look every year, he's in the majors at some point. He's usually hitting over 280, 290, and he just feels like a decent player. And again, just no pop and maybe not the best defensive metrics, and only can play second base or wherever have you. Where Toro's much better, obviously, than Donovan Solano, and he's also a lot younger than Solano was when he was usually kind of getting the bulk of his major league appearances. So, yeah, I'm just, there's actual projectability there, I think. Like, I think if he can continue this, and who knows, maybe he can even get better, do a little bit more with the power, he could actually be a guy who's here for a little while. Because I also don't know, like, what team is really in the market right now for a guy who profiles like him, who'd be, like, willing to pay the price for him. Like, of course, any and every team could use Abraham Toro because he profiles so well too as like a backup infielder on a really good like contending team, but he's too good to be a backup infielder right now. And the A's are definitely his value. You're gonna be trading for an everyday young-ish shortstop with a lot of control. Like that's the type of value that the A's are gonna, demand back for him. So, so that's why I actually think he can probably stick around for a little while, and who knows if he develops a little bit. But yeah, I want to get the people excited about Abraham Toro.
They should be. Because
Yeah.
I think, for the longest time, this lineup has been searching for like a true leadoff hitter, and I think Toro, like they had toyed with it a few times earlier in the season, but I think now it's like he has settled in just as like the everyday leadoff hitter for this team.
Yeah, and there's a certain thing to be said about being comfortable as a leadoff hitter, where there's like been so many guys, even just recently in baseball, where like they're great hitters. You put them in any spot, even second or third, But then once you put them to that leadoff spot, and some of it could be just that first at bat, you haven't seen, no one's seen pitches from that pitcher yet. You're the first guy. You're kind of the guinea pig who's going back to the dugout and telling the guys, all right, here's what he's throwing. This thing feels like it's on today. This thing's moving this way a little bit. One of your at bats every game is kind of you're put at a pretty big disadvantage. But it also just the whole mentality, the vibe thing. Usually you've got great hitters sitting behind you, so you're gonna not walk a lot. Usually see a lot of strikes, and all of that to say, sometimes you have to have a different mentality as a leadoff hitter, or you have to adapt to some things that come with that directly. And Toro seemingly has, or at least he's always been ready for it, maybe. But yeah, he fits in well there. And Geloff, maybe, who knows, maybe it's just he's still so green as an MLB player and would have struggled any part of the lineup, and he's, still getting his feet wet. But who knows, maybe, I know he was just hitting some leadoff and some second in the order too, and it's the same thing that goes for the second spot in the lineup, but just a little bit lessened. And who knows, now I know he's hitting middle and kind of down more so. It's very small sample size, but he's looked pretty good so far, where not everyone can handle that heat at the top, and I think we can say Toro can, as you said.
Yeah, love us some Abraham Toro.
Exactly. But you want to mention anybody in a negative way?
Yeah, I got a few.
Dude, you don't even have to. You only have to give out 3 lumps of coal. Why are you like going out of your way to like talk about how bad guys are playing?
1-9 over the last 10 games. I think I'm allowed to do this. It's kind of my time to shine.
Rip off the Band-Aid.
All right, here we go. Joey Estes.
No, don't say that.
Estes nuts. Am I allowed to say that? We're getting censored
like
for that.
2 on the nose. We were doing fine.
Are we getting banned for that? Are we getting demonetized?
We're getting banned in Russia again.
Shoot. Yeah.
Russia's not gonna like that.
No,
But yes, Joey.
And now it's Joey Estes nuts. Joey Estes. Who is Joey Estes? I don't. Well, I mean, most A's fans are probably.
Oh, was that a rhetorical question?
That was a rhetorical question. I mean, like I barely know who this guy is. I realize that he's a 22-year-old pitcher who I guess like saw some starts last year. It wasn't even his debut. I think half the team's probably asking who this guy is. He actually had an okay start against the Mariners. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run, and then he got absolutely freaking mashed by the Astros.
Yeah, he was actually great in that first start. I guess we that's definitely has to be said before you rip him a new one. Yeah,
that saved him from a lump of coal. But he gave up 8 runs in 3 innings and some change against the Astros. And he's pretty much locked into a starting role in this rotation, I guess. Just out of sheer, desperation because they don't have anybody else that they feel comfortable throwing in there. But
injuries.
Yeah, so we've seen the tale of 2 Joey Estes. Yeah. So he's
the only player from his high school to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah, well, it shows, but
it's ironic, like I don't know if ironic, but just that cliche saying of every like professional athlete or especially professional baseball player, some of the places these guys come from, was like by far and away the best athlete in their town, let alone the best baseball player in their town, and they're like the stud and stuff like that. And then you see certain like. Joey Estes is more believable. He's young right now. He's a 22-year-old in Major League Baseball. But then there's like TJ McFarland. It's kind of funny to imagine like he's like the stud in the Letterman jacket, in high school, and like everyone's like fawning over TJ McFarland. But that's probably what it was. It's not to hate on him. It's to say he probably was the guy.
Yeah, TJ McFarland over at the AA Stag School. I bet he was that was where he went to high school. That was TJ. Oh, I'm gonna look up AA Stag High School. Amos Alonzo Stag High School in Palos Hills, Illinois. It's in a southwest suburb of Chicago, actually. So that's where
there you go. Wouldn't you know, he's the only Major League Baseball player from Amos Alonzo Stag High School as well in Palos Hills.
Probably.
Pretty good. Oh, and one more TJ McFarland quick hitter. He's 1 for 15 for his career hitting. That's just on the page here, and he does have a hit.
When did that happen?
Oh, dude, now we're going too deep. But I need to know now. No, I need to know.
Hitting stats.
Are we gonna be able to figure out what? We definitely
Baseball
will
Reference.
Be able to
Yeah. I'm looking at Baseball Reference right now. Let's see.
Overlooked it. I was on a different page of Baseball Reference that didn't have that stuff.
Surely we can find the one hit that he's had in his career.
Standard batting. Here we go. No, I got it.
You got it? Okay.
2017 as a member of the Diamondbacks. It's actually impressive because he did play for the Orioles for a while.
Good for him.
And then of course recently we've had pitchers no longer hitting. So.
Because Diamondbacks NL when they hadn't established the DH spot. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Good for him.
Universal DH. Yeah. Anyway, a little pit stop in this podcast to praise TJ McFarland. What else is new?
It's dark times if we gotta be praising TJ McFarland. I think.
Eye of the beholder. I think. Good times, bad times. There's no bad time to praise TJ McFarland.
I think
there's bad times, but there's no bad time to praise TJ McFarland. That's what I want on a t-shirt. Talking about that.
I think what's so funny is that off the record, you'll call me and be like, dude, TJ McFarland sucks. And then he just follows it up with an absolute, he just absolutely rips it for 0.2 innings in a game as a reliever.
I will say, Will, what was the last phone call I had with you about TJ McFarland? It was about how good he is.
Yeah. No, you give him his flowers, I know. But I think it's funny because, I feel like every time you say that, he has, an absolutely, fire relief showing in a game that the A's are getting blown out by, 7+ runs.
Well, if now is the portion of the podcast where we're going to talk about TJ McFarland, which I'm glad there is a portion of the podcast like that, we might as well do it. And
we're veering off from my honorable mentions to talk about TJ McFarland.
Yeah, okay. We talked about it. We talked about it last time. No, I just think we might as well just get to him now. He's talk of the town.
Yeah. He's also the talk of the town at Amos Alonzo Stag High School, I'm sure.
That's right. But he's 0. No one's barreled a ball off him still. He's top 9 per. I'm gonna nerd out here for a second, but just I think anyone can know if there's even one way to slice TJ McFarland being top anything in the league. That's a pretty good thing. It means he's probably earning his $500K. Yeah. 0 barrels, which puts him 2% of all MLB. So pretty much 2% of MLB pitchers, no one's barreled the ball off them. It's not a lot of pitchers. And this is all pitchers that qualify, of course, as well. So not just guys that throw one game and get sent back down. But anyway, hard hit percentage, top 10% of all MLB of lowest. So launch angle, top 3 of MLB and lowest launch angle. X slugging, top 3 in MLB of lowest slug. And the same goes for X WOBA. So all of that to say the same thing I said last week, but I'm going to say it until it's not true anymore because it blows my mind. TJ McFarland, no one has figured out this year how to hit the ball hard off him. Period. You can compare him to any pitcher in baseball, any pitcher that you think of has the nastiest stuff. No one can get a piece of, relief pitcher, starter, and none of them, other than Mason Miller with a few stats, none of them are going to have stats that differ wildly from TJ McFarland in terms of hard hit and slugging and power stats against. So
I think it's so
that's
funny.
also to
Go
say
ahead.
that his stats on the year technically aren't good.
No,
You
they're not.
know?
That's what's crazy to me. I think it's so
Yeah.
funny that he has a fastball run value of +4, but he's got like one of the slowest fastball velocities in the league.
Yeah. Well, that like he is breaking the mold, because I can't even tell you another guy that can that does that and it works for them. But like it does work in a way of when you think about it, like he does just have such a weird delivery and a weird arm angle to that. Then when you're seeing like a fastball that's got spinning like a fastball, moving like a fastball, but is like 86 miles an hour, it's weird. It's like you probably identify it as a changeup, or at least it kind of looks like a changeup, but then like it never breaks down. So it's like a weird new pitch that you can only throw by being old and less athletic than you used to be.
Well, it's funny because it either qualifies. So there's actually only one four-seamer that he's thrown this entire season thus far. Everything
Well,
is
he throws
either
a sinker, right?
Yeah, a sinker. So it's either read as like a sinker or a changeup. That seems to be But he's technically only thrown one true like four-seam fastball this season.
That's funny. Yeah. That's funny too, because like whenever that's the case for any pitch, like a guy's only thrown one of that and then like hundreds of every other pitch, it definitely was a mistake. Like they meant to throw another pitch, and then like, like Isaac Newton is like, oh shit, yeah, I've discovered I can throw a four-seamer. Or oh man, that moved differently. Like that's how for example, that's how Mariano Rivera found his cutter. Was he was just throwing his four-seamer one day, and one day he just like threw it with a slightly different grip by mistake, like if anything out of haste, and then it just moved like his cutter. And then like he just kept doing it because he was like, oh, that's nastier than anything I've ever thrown before.
Yeah.
So just even by mistake, you can develop the best pitch that's ever been thrown in baseball history. So you never know. Watch out for that TJ McFarland four-seamer. He dotted it though. As you can see, he dotted it. We're gonna show a graphic on the screen. He dotted that fastball.
He
make
did.
No mistake.
I painted that bottom right corner there,
as well as the one cutter he's thrown this year. He not as much of a dot, but like probably a pitch that wasn't hit. Right? Let's see here. Yeah. Well, it wasn't. No one even swung at it, but
they're too scared.
Yeah, literally, it was called a strike. So
yeah, it was. Yeah, look at that. No kidding.
So. There you go. But yeah, when you look, like, since we're you and I could read your mind. You're on the TJ McFarland Baseball Savant page, which I do have bookmarked. And it is just such a funny, like we'll throw it up on the screen too. It's so funny how he's either like the best at something or he's the worst.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like,
I know.
There's no in between. The only two things he's not above the 90th percentile of or below the 10th percentile of is X batting average, which, that's something, that you would expect that he's not going to either give up the least amount of hits or the most amount of hits when he's just so, wishy-washy with everything else. And then, chase percentage, he's kind of middle of the pack because guys don't know. They're not swinging at it, but they're not swinging at it all the time either, because it's like, what is that 86 mile an hour pitch that didn't move?
I'm saving the TJ McFarland StatCast right now, so we can throw that up there. I just want to screenshot it before I forgot, and I'm also gonna get the heat map for his one cutter and his one four seamer.
You better screenshot that.
I will.
But another now. Like the last thing I'll say about TJ McFarland, I don't know if you have anything more, but he's 100th percentile in ground ball percentage, which, yes, that's right. That means that you are no more likely to hit a ground ball against any pitcher than TJ McFarland in all of Major League Baseball, which is fantastic. That's literally like, if you could have anything, if you could ask for anything as a pitcher, that's other than strikeouts in Mason Miller's profile. That's what you want, ground balls. So, yeah. We love TJ McFarland here, and this is absolutely a pro TJ McFarland podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's plenty of clips you can find of us not loving on TJ McFarland, but if you really love something, you're gonna be honest about it, and not all honest things are nice. I'll leave it at that.
Good words. Good said.
Yeah. Where were we?
We were at yeah, I was still honorable mentions. So I was gonna actually talk about.
You got more bad players to talk about.
Yeah, I do. Believe it or not, there are players
right.
worse than TJ McFarland on this roster. Some of them even in the bullpen. Specifically, Austin Adams gets an honorable mention. It sucks because he's been a good reliever all season. He simply just crapped the bed against the Royals. He just had one of those games, and I feel like every relief pitcher kind of has one of those games where they just get out there and they just can't throw a strike, and he just pitched 0.2 innings and just got his shit rocked, and it sucks. I'm not gonna give Austin Adams a lump of coal because his larger body of work over the season has been really solid, but yeah, had to do it. It hurt me. I think it
had to do it to him.
Yeah, I think it hurt me more than it hurt Austin Adams, but he'll get over it. He'll be fine.
Yeah. He might not even know.
He might not even know
you did that.
But if he does, I'm sorry, Austin Adams, and I do believe in you. We believe in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyone else? Yeah. So I'm gonna get into one. So this guy, I really thought about giving him a lump of coal. I feel like the Royal Series, he showed a little bit more, just enough life to just okay, I got too much coal to dish out to other people, so I'm gonna leave him on the honorable mentions. But Seth Brown, dude, he was I debated even giving him 3 lumps of coal at one point, but
I would have supported some coal for him too. But I support your decision to lay off as well.
Yeah. So this guy, I think, at this point, if you really want to throw a tinfoil hat on, he probably has some dirt in the organization at this point because he somehow managed to stay in the lineup. I don't know how with his hitting production. I'm not sure what he's adding. In theory, he's a veteran bat with average defense, but in practice, he's a guy with no bat and average defense. And he had an April where he registered 15 hits, which isn't even overly impressive over a full month of playing. He has been ice cold to start May, and he isn't really doing a whole lot to remain one of the best 3 outfielders on the team. But that's not really even saying much because not a ton of the other outfielders are really doing a whole lot. So I guess the A's just have to put him out there because they're kind of hoping that and just trusting that he'll turn it around at the plate. And they don't really have any better options right now. I guess Abraham Toro saw a random start at left field. I thought that was kind of funny. That was the first game of the Royals series. And I guess they want to just keep playing Seth Brown. So he did register a little bit of stuff in the Royals series. Let me just double check the last 3 games just to give you a more exact thing about how he's looked. During the Royals series, he had 2 hits, which is definitely better than what he's had before. He had two hits, one of which was a home run, 2 RBIs, 7 plate appearances. Okay, not terrible. We'll take that. Yeah. But yeah, Seth Brown gets an honorable mention there.
Very fair. Ironically, Seth Brown talking about having dirt on John Fisher or someone else has been with the club since 2019. And I'm just right now, maybe you've seen me, anyone listening or watching can see me glancing off screen here. I've just been going through the 2019 Oakland A's roster to see some of
earlier today,
Seth Brown's teammates.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Seeing some of that.
Kind of funny to see that, some of the guys that he played with on those teams. I think the
year I think I looked at was 2020 or 2021, and even that just blew my mind.
Yeah, you could have found some even cooler names. For example, Matt Olson was still here.
Yep. Marcus Semien.
Mark Cano was here. Yeah, Semien was here. Matt Chapman, of course, and Sean Murphy was super young.
Chris Bassett.
Even
Chris Bassett, I think,
we
was
can
on the
get
team around then.
the fun names. I love to see Kendrys Morales' name here. That's one of my favorite names to see on lists in baseball. And Sheldon Neuse as well. I haven't like heard his name or thought about it in a long time, so that's cool. And let me see.
Where is Sheldon Neuse now? Is he just like toiling in AAA?
If you told me he hung up the cleats, I wouldn't be surprised.
Where
Where
is he?
When AJ Puck was still a top prospect. And
man, that was a whole dang, I forgot AJ Puck.
Jesus Luzardo was even more of a top prospect.
Oh,
Frankie Montas was like good and like an actual guy. So
Sheldon Neuse is an infielder for the Hanshin Tigers of the. Yeah, he's playing in Japan right now.
Sounds about right. Said with all due respect for a guy who played a lot of Major League Baseball.
There you go. He's playing in Japan. Okay. Good for him.
How's he doing? Can we get those stats?
Yeah, well, let me see. Japan. Hold on. Hoping this doesn't. I can get something here. Oh, he's been doing it the last 2 years.
Oh, how's he doing?
Oh, doesn't look like it's going so hot.
He's not playing well in Japan.
In 2024, he hasn't. Oh no! Actually, no. Sorry, I saw it. I thought it was OPS, OBP, on base percentage. He's actually doing okay. He's in 39 games. He's had 28 hits, 1 homer. He's had batting average of he's slashing 264, 333. Yeah,
what's his OPS? You have access to that?
I can't see his OPS. Well, I guess
or just his slugging, and I can do it in my head.
Yeah.
We can do math.
Yeah, I mean, his batting average 264, slugging's 330, and then on base percentage is 331.
Slugging's 330.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, actually, like not great.
No, that's he actually technically his career MLB slugging was 296, and he hit 212 in his MLB career. So
okay, so he is doing better.
Not terribly far. Oh, I mean, yeah, but like no, like that's like if like Anthony Davis left the Lakers, went to China, and did the same thing, like
which could happen. That could very well happen.
I that example in particular, because I almost feel like that's like the most likely superstar to like go to China and be like, all right, I can do the same thing here. I can do the same role. But anyway, long live Sheldon Neuse. Good name, good baseball name for the past
hopefully
5 years.
He's having fun in Japan, eating good food and playing baseball.
Honestly, probably is. I've definitely I enjoy like little mini, like those little Vox documentaries and stuff. I enjoy watching like little things of those for like American athletes playing baseball and basketball, just sports overseas and stuff like that. And like it seems generally like a lot of guys, even especially with like families and stuff, tend to love it. And they're like, oh yeah, my kids. And
I mean, it's so about great. Like the traveling. Peaceful. Yeah, it's like a whole different experience for them too. So I mean, it seems fun.
My kids say thank you now. It's it's a good cool thing for certain guys when it's like, if it's something you have to do, it's not a awful situation to have to go live in a probably nice apartment or house in Japan and make $1 million playing a kid's game.
Like, exactly.
For something you have to do professionally, it's not a bad deal.
Or like going to play like basketball in like Puerto Rico or something like that, and yeah,
exactly. Or when like Michael Beasley goes to the Philippines and realizes that there's a country he's God in. Same thing with Marbury, I guess.
Him and Eric Spoelstra. Those are like they're like right. God in the Philippines.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It is surprising the amount of NBA players, like past NBA players, have like at least played an official organized like game they were there to make money to play in the Philippines. Like I know Andre Blatch has some Philippines experience. Good stuff. They love. I mean, talk about watching little documentaries. There's a bunch of stuff out there of documenting the Philippines' love for basketball. Good watches if anyone has time. But anyway, Again, where were we?
Oh yeah,
The
so I got
old
two
once
more
an
names.
episode Sheldon Noose
Yeah, after this
tangent.
Sheldon Noose rabbit hole.
Mm.
So Lawrence Butler, that's what I'm going to bring it back to. He gets an honorable mention, and just because it was time, his time had come. He got sent down to AAA, but it was a necessary move. He had a rough go at it for most of the season. He registered 18 hits and 121 plate appearances. Ugh, wow! This reading that again, that was bad. But his fielding actually has been a plus in right field. His defense has been pretty good. His bat is just simply not at a major league caliber yet. And I know a couple pods ago I had incorrectly predicted a Law Butt resurgence because I cited his decent bat speed, exit velocity, and hard hit percentage.
You did not document his bat speed.
Bat speed? Oh,
that's what you said.
I said bat speed. I'm sorry. No, that was something else then. What did I say?
I could track that.
It wasn't. It was not.
No, I know.
Speed.
There's some sabermetric
because I definitely said that
good.
before Savant put out bat tracking. No, okay.
Yeah.
That was not bat speed. What was it?
Stuff.
There's stuff. I don't know.
There's stuff. There's
good
stuff.
The point was I incorrectly predicted a Law Butt one because I just went hog wild on his stat cast. So I guess that just kind of makes me look like a dumb nerd who doesn't know ball. And I guess I just got to make it my resolution to pay less attention to the stat cast, because if you put too much stock into it, then you're going to incorrectly, call your shot, and then you just completely airball and the guy gets option to AAA. He'll probably find his way back just with how generally weak most of the outfield's been playing, and I'm sure at some point he'll find his way back up to the majors. I just feel stupid for calling my shot. It just feels like I airballed. Happens to the best of us, I guess.
Well, I'm gonna make a claim here. I think you've airballed twice. I'm protesting this honorable mention. I'm gonna say a couple things now, then I'm gonna drop the bombshell later. All right. Laba, right before being sent down, last 10 games even to now, he's played in 4 of them. A little while ago, 6 games ago now was the last one. But was using 214, 313, 527 OPS. It's not good, but with the defense, it is what it is. But Will, I have a bombshell. All right, and I don't think you're ready for this bombshell.
I think I am.
Oh, see, what you would want me to do is tell you what the bombshell is right now. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna drop the bombshell when I think it's gonna mean just the most. When I think it's gonna just truly just blow this wide open in my favor. So I'm gonna wait on that. But I'm just letting you know right now, it's coming. The bombshell is coming. Pro Law Butt bombshell.
All right. Okay.
But you got any other guys to just slander?
Slander.
Just kidding.
If I don't end up in cuffs or someone filing some kind of civil case against me for the slander that I'm slinging in this pod today, then I haven't done my job.
I'm not saying that I won't call the cops and tell them to go to your house. I'm not gonna say I won't do that. I won't do that, but I won't. Well, I just said I won't. Yeah.
All right. Good. Yeah. No backsies.
Well, I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna call the police to your house.
I tried to get cute with it. Tried to hide my intentions. Well, I'm gonna call the cops on
you. Put Lawrence Butler in your honorable mentions for Cole. I think you should be beaten to death with a hammer. And
I think we should stone you with coal. I think that's what your punishment's gonna be. How do you like it?
Yeah, it hurts. Yeah, I guess
every time you give someone coal, just imagine that's what you're doing to them.
I guess I got publicly stoned enough times by watching the last 10 games of the A's. That felt like a good equivalent of that. So
it felt like a sin watching it too.
Yeah. I didn't feel cathartic. That wasn't cathartic for me.
No, I didn't turn it on expecting to feel that way either, though. I kind of expected what we got, which in a way makes it feel better than, let's say, we're watching a team we're expecting to win a lot of games and then they don't.
I think for a period of time we kind of thought that they may be winning more games than expected.
I'm still there on what you said word for word, that they're going to win more than expected. I don't know how much more optimistic I am in the team than that, but I do still feel good they're winning more than whatever their win loss over under was for the year. What was it, like 50 and a half, 51 and a half or something?
Yeah, I don't even think it was 60. It's I
No,
believe
it was
it's
lower than
55 and a half if I'm not.
Yeah.
Wins
It was a
over
joke, whatever it
under
was. A joke that made sense at the time.
57 and a half.
Yeah.
57 and a half, I think.
I still think we're winning 60.
Yeah. Yeah, 57
Yeah.
and a half. Yeah.
We're already a third of the way there,
Yeah.
Math Pod.
It's free money if you ask me.
Yeah. If you could still bet on it, then I would take that line, the original line of some Vegas sportsbook forgot the baseball season started. I would take advantage of that. Anyone else? I feel like it's just a clown car of guys that you're throwing
just when you
pies in
think
the
we could
faces
pack
of.
more into the clown car of honorable mentions, I got one more for you. I'll give it to just rub your temples and
It's just
groan.
hurting me, man. It's just all these negative vibes about my favorite baseball players.
Esteury Ruiz.
Oh, that's like the worst one he could have said.
Yeah.
Tell
I
us
think
why.
well, it's because everyone and their mother was kind of pounding the table for this guy to, get more playing time. And I think for a little bit of time he did. Over the last 10 games, he's played in 6 of them. He has recorded a grand total of 0 hits, which I think is really funny. He's had 8 plate appearances. 6 of them were strikeouts.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Can't seem to figure out what happened to the other 2, but
damn, I actually didn't notice here. He has a caught stolen as well, so he's got no hits, no runs, no RBIs.
And the one thing that he does well, stealing bases, he got caught doing that, and that hurts. Yeah, he's failed to record a hit since the last time recorded. He's barely playing, and yeah, this is just a slump, and I don't know if the A's are going to give him an opportunity to break out of that slump, or maybe they
I mean, like, do you have his stats up for like the last 20 days or 30 days? Like 0-for-7 is not a slump, but like
let's see, 20 games. Let's see, 20 games. 20 games, Esteury Ruiz.
He's barely playing. It's hard to call someone slumping if they're not getting everyday playing time. He's played in
14 of them, but no, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
27 plate appearances, 3 hits. OPS of 366. Yeah. 366.
No, that's I guess maybe that is so atrocious that maybe it's fair to say he's slumping at this point. But it just feels like he's getting such inconsistent playing time. Like I have an issue saying that anyone that is playing every 3 days at most at this point with Ruiz, starting every 3 days because he's getting in some games late. I have a hard time seeing any guy like that slumping. That's not very fair to me.
I feel like every time I bring this up, every time we bring up Esteury Ruiz in the pod, I just have to say, the A's have the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever right now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, sheesh.
Should I just?
They've already done it too often with everyone else.
Yeah,
it's
right. I mean, what's one more at this point? I guess you look at it that way.
Good point. Let's just call up Henry Bolt at this point. Let's just do that. Let's just do it. But all right, is that clown car empty?
Well,
are you out of guys that you're just gonna insult their family names of?
There's another one pulling up to the curb called the 3 Lumps of Coal.
Well, don't do it yet. I got my honorable mentions.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna have to stay at the curb.
Yeah, well, there's actually another clown car that's gonna screech in front, and
this is a good clown car. This is a clown car filled with winners, with champions, with old friends and semi-new friends along the way, as well as a Frankenstein like just human type entity, if you will.
Like that.
This is a fun clown car. All right. It's a fun car.
Yeah, I'm in.
Ready? All right.
Yeah.
Number 1, I felt weird not giving Brent Rooker a star but I've given him like as many stars as I think I can on this podcast. It's about his time to let the Shoe and Toro get some recognition, you know. But he's still been outrageous. I'm just gonna pull up the last 3 series, but yeah, he's still hitting 293 over the last 3 series, 789 OPS, which is definitely his like roughest little stretch if you were to take any 10-game sample size at the last 30 games. But even still, that 789, that's above average. And if Brent Rooker were to have a 789 OPS this year, we wouldn't be that disappointed. And the 293 average is just funny. It's like ironic how only 2 home runs in this stretch, which is still a lot for all intents and purposes, 2 home runs in 10 games. But yeah, like a high average and then pretty low slugging for what that average is. But it's nice to see because we can go back and look and reveal our findings next episode if we want to, but I would doubt that like Brent Rooker had very many stretches at all last year in an all-star season, albeit only really a good first half, but where he hit 293 in a 10-game sample. I don't think it happened a lot. So the fact that even what can be considered one of, like him cooling off is a stretch that he probably never had last year, potentially, as well as 8 RBIs. Like, are you kidding me? Like, technically, he should be getting 3 stars because he had twice as many RBIs as the next guy, and that is the point of baseball, is to score runs. But he's been getting a lot of awards. I think he's happy. I think he's a humble teammate. I think he's happy to see his guys get some recognition here. But yeah. I almost just don't want to stop talking. I just enjoy talking about Brent Rooker playing baseball, especially recently. So definitely he's getting a very honorable mention here. Gonna mention and shout out JJ Bleday, another guy that I feel like should get some chatter in times when he doesn't from us. But yeah, just been solid. 752 OPS, 250 batting average. It just feels like he doesn't go too many stretches without hitting a home run. Feels like every 7, 8, 9 games you are to expect your Bleday home run. And just a consistent baseball player. I think I mentioned it earlier about like, I think I much rather if you told me, hey, here's a player, he's consistently average, he's consistently a little bit above replacement level, he's gonna hit you 750 OPS this year with pretty good defense. I'll take that guy over, a guy who at sometimes is the best player in the world and other times isn't, and I just feel like that's what Bleday has been, with the exception of one little rough stretch at the beginning of the year. He's going to hit you around 250. He's going to hit you the home run once in every while. Can play center field very well. Yeah, I think he's earned himself like a spot in this league, like going forward this year so far too, because I mean, coming into the year, like he's not a starting outfielder on, dare I say, any other major league team this year, at least headed into the year when the teams were at full strength. So he was really, he got a little lucky to be on a team that was going to start him. And then, he had to play well enough to convince other teams like, hey, if the A's ever don't want me again, hey, you should give me a shot after, maybe as a starter somewhere else too, if that ever happens. So anyway, all that to say, Bleday, he's doing what he does, and it's been good and dependable. So shout out JJ. This is my second favorite person in the clown car. Aaron Brooks is back. Shout out to Aaron Brooks. Lost his start in Houston. Doesn't have a win or anything with the A's this year or anything. One appearance. But he pitched well, 7 innings, 3 earned runs, gave length in kind of a stretch where the A's needed some length. The 2 prior stars from 2 previous games both pitched 5 innings, but a lot of different relief pitchers were throwing 1 inning, and we're burning some guys there. And then the game right before those 2, so 3 games prior to when Brooks took the mound, was when Wood went out there and threw 2 innings and totally used up Moeller and some of the other guys. So all that, Brooks coming just out of nowhere, showing up for the 3rd time. Not a lot of guys can say that 3 separate times they came from a team to the Oakland A's in their career, especially guys who haven't turned 30 yet, but came and for all intents and purposes shoved. So even though he didn't win the game, shout out Aaron Brooks. And then lastly in the car, it's my good boy, Mason McKellis. All right. That would be Mason Miller, Hogan Harris, TJ McFarland, and Michael Kelly. All four of those guys in this little 10-game, 3-series stretch. No runs in 14 and a third innings. 0 earned runs in that stretch. And Mason Miller and Hogan Harris, no hits in 3 innings apiece for them in this stretch. So I guess that's my little bullpen shout out. And if anyone was wondering, well, who's pitching well in the bullpen, that's who's pitching well right now, is those 4 guys. And they're pitching really well. So it's definitely, too bad when a few other guys are just pitching so poorly that it kind of, there's not a single A's bullpen is good narrative flying right now. And if it wasn't for a couple guys that have been pretty rough recently, I think there would be. So yeah, and then of course Mason Miller, just because I think I have the privilege right now of like saying his name for the first time on this pod. Mason Miller is still like the reason I enjoy life. So yeah, there you go. You too, right?
Yeah, of course. I think
there's not much else out there. It's Mason Miller.
It's this kind of Mason Miller show, and we're just kind of spectators to it.
How often do you add to your Mason Miller shrine?
Twice a day.
Twice a day?
Yeah. Morning and
all right, that's one way of doing it. That's one way of doing it. See, I only add once every few days, but I make sure everything I put on there is just like perfect, Like I make sure it's like the perfect game used dirt from eBay from a game that Mason Miller pitched in, the perfect cutout from a magazine. I guess you're out here just putting anything on that shit.
I'm more just like burning incense, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs at a wall, as they say.
Yep. Exactly.
Seen with sticks. Those are my honorable mentions. It's like, other than the guys I'm mentioning for my stars, and other than the guy who's getting 3 stars, no one's like playing particularly fantastic right now. Other than technically those relief pitchers I mentioned are doing their job pretty much as well as you possibly can, but they're only relief pitchers. They're not even athletes. But yeah, like it's just cool to see guys like Bleday and Rooker coming off of probably their hottest stretches of the year, especially Rooker, keeping it going, and even when no one else is playing well, at least doing okay.
Yeah.
Those are my honorable mentions. Do you want to bring the people back down to your sad coal level?
I do. We're taking you all the way downtown to JD Davis Town. That is.
I was hoping that's who was going.
I feel like that's like the one obvious one. Like anybody who's been watching the A, that's like the one guy who like definitely deserves to be talked about, and just we finally got to him.
It didn't even feel like it, and I know you'll go into. I'll set you up a 118 OPS over the last 10 games. What? That's the worst. Like only a couple guys have a worse batting average than that in this stretch.
Yeah.
His OPS. Oh gosh, take it away. I'm just gonna think about all the bad choices I've made in life. One of them rooting for JD Davis at a certain point earlier on and believing in him. I think that's rooting for him's an okay decision. Believing in him, that was the mistake. So take it away.
Yeah. All right, so my JD Davis, hold on. There's one quick thing I wanted to... Yep, so, okay. So this one goes out as the what do they even do here bump. Or these 3 lumps go to JD Davis because I feel like every guy, or every team has a guy who kind of fits that, like, what do they even do here? I think the A's have that in JD Davis. I think they have it in a few other guys, but definitely JD Davis. He has pretty much fallen to 3rd in the first base pecking order behind Tyler Soderstrom and I guess also Tyler Nevin. And it's great for Soderstrom that he's finally like seeing a good amount of starts at first base, at least in the last, couple series. it's crazy that it's come at the expense of a guy who we really thought was going to be the starter at either third. Actually, I think at the time it was third because Noda was still at first base.
Yeah.
And Noda could, I suppose, reasonably repair his game and come back for that spot, if injuries or struggles continue. Probably not.
Injuries, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's just
spot on.
injuries. Yeah, and
Yeah.
then JD Davis is just done. That's what JD stands for. He's just done.
Oh, man.
Dude, he hasn't found his footing. After
Yikes.
coming back from the IL, he's had, like you said, an OPS of 118 over the last 10 games. He's registered one hit, I think. One hit?
Yep.
One hit over how many plate appearances? Let's double check that. 17.
17, yeah.
One hit over 17 plate appearances. And
leads the team in double plays in that stretch too. Not by a lot, but he does.
Yeah.
Has to be said.
And I guess maybe he'll see the occasional start at DH. I don't even know if he will at this point. I think like the A's are kind of just done playing him. I mean, you're going to have other players who are coming back who...
Well, when he start, how many of the last 3 games did he start?
I know he had...
Because are they literally like, am I tripping and I like kind of forgot that he really has been weaned off playing time, or are you kind of just like saying like he's done?
Well, he didn't play in the 3rd game of the Royals series. I'm going to check the other ones. I believe he only played in one of those games.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, which is why
and one of them was as a DH.
Down this rabbit hole.
He had one plate appearance as a pinch hitter and first baseman in the 2nd game of the Royals series. And in the 1st game of the Royals series, he was not the DH. He did start in that game. Okay.
Right.
So he saw one start in the Royals series. He had one start. Obviously didn't record any kind of stats. He came in as a pinch hitter late in the 2nd game, and he didn't see any playing time in the 3rd game. So, yeah.
It's ironic. One of the few guys the A's are paying millions of dollars to.
There's not many. I mean, like I think Max Scherzer has like a higher payroll or a comparable payroll to the entire A's roster. No, is it Max Scherzer?
Scherzer's still on that? Yeah,
or Jacob DeGrom. Sorry.
Jacob to the payroll. Yeah, both of them. No, but I think Max Scherzer's still on that crazy contract.
Scherzer salary. Let me look. 43 point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
It's nuts.
Dude, it always throws me off every time I see Max Scherzer's headshot. He's got like the
eyes.
Yeah, the eyes. That throws me off so much every time I see.
I knew someone like that back in the old days. But yeah, that's wild about the payroll thing. It's funny too because JD Davis had that whole thing where he got absolutely screwed by the Giants.
Yeah, he did.
Where like technically like he was a whatever it was $6 million player, and the Giants weren't disputing that at all. But it was just again, I forget what the loophole was now, but it's kind of gross if I remember correctly. So that JD Davis to go from that where he kind of thought he was going to have a role on a potentially competitive or at least not awful. Not say the A's are awful, but Giants had a little bit better of an outlook coming into this season. He thought he was going to be on that team making 3 times at least as much as what he's making now. And now he's having a hard time cracking the lineup of the A's, which, again, isn't for the lack of bad players. I mean, it is, Seth Brown is funny. I feel like JD Davis can beat out Seth Brown for time, but especially with Geloff coming back, I mean, there's guys that deserve time. And everyday time that they're getting. So
yeah, I mean, Tyler Soderstrom, like you might as well see what you got in him at this point. Like at least like he's kind of somewhat of an unknown. I mean, Miguel Andujar is probably going to come back at some point, and I assume they're going to shake up the lineup for the next series.
Miguel Andujar, dude.
That's
like it's a fun name.
Yeah, just get him in the mix in this into the clown car. Squeeze him in there.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's going to be. I know he's still on a rehab assignment in AAA as of this recording, so I guess we can see if he's going to be back soon. I actually don't know. I haven't looked at.
I'll look it up. You've been looking up a lot. I'll take this one.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, JD Davis gets my three lumps. But Miguel Andujar should be coming back soon, though.
Well,
I mean,
like
I don't know
if, like, I mean, is there who are we sending down? I mean, I guess at this point with the injury stuff, there are a few guys on the roster that are kind of funny. Yeah, he's 5 for 10 in AAA so far with a 1.3 OPS in 3 games. How about that?
Right.
Cool. 5 RBIs too. How about that? So good lumps, deserved lumps. I'm going to give out some stars now. I've given out stars to this guy as many times as I possibly could have as well. I think I've gotten lucky, and every time I've been giving out stars, he's been playing pretty well. But that's also because he's been playing pretty well all year. Shea Langoliers. It's like what do you? There's a million things to talk about that are good with him right now, and I'm actually gonna start from behind the plate, and it just feels like a little bit of a different experience watching him now versus especially last year, but even a little bit earlier on. He looks like a major league catcher back there. And then especially when you catch him throwing out a base runner, or at least throwing down to second and attempting to get a base runner, can't find a number that says he's not top 3, if not the best at doing that in all of baseball. And the pitching has had its spurts this year. It's a bad podcast to give him props for his game calling and stuff, but there have definitely been, for one, there's some pitchers that are just having good years. But there's just been stretches where the pitching staff as a whole has looked decent. And, for a guy who's young, who people still, I mean, especially last year, were speculating if he would remain at catcher, if he had moved to first base. And people really criticized his game calling and his rhythm behind the plate and all of that little stuff that's not showing up on the stat, sheet. That's not little. Seems little, but absolutely not little. And by all accounts, and by the eye test, it looks like he's doing more than a fine enough job. And then when you combine that with him, at least stat-wise, being a top 3 offensive catcher this year, and a guy who just, again, all of the little metrics as well as just watching him, I really think that this is not an aberration. I think he's going to just be a good offensive catcher now, where we've seen all the flashes and hit the 20-plus home runs last year, hit the, slugging was all right, and this year started off pretty good. I think we've just seen enough now where we can say hey, it's a very low bar for the position he plays, but I think he can be a top 5 offensive performer at his position just going forward when he's healthy. And that's not hyperbole at all. So yeah, good on you.
Yeah, I mean, he's
I don't
already,
even need to,
he's
here.
already
I
almost
will
got
say
half
his
of
stats.
home
I will
runs.
say his stats in the last 10 games, just because I didn't before. He's got the highest OPS on the team in the last 10 days: 846, 276 average, 364 on base, 483 slug, and yeah,
Good
just
marks.
whatever you want. He's walking all right. He's got the home run in the last 10 games, 3 doubles, which isn't bad, and yeah, just good stuff. And it felt that way too. I think you and I both agreed on this. It just felt like with his at-bats, even though the stats didn't look good at the start of the year, just the standard, batting average slash line stuff, it just felt like he was a different hitter from last year. And it's really cool to see that, him get rewarded for that now. And he's an interesting guy too, where I don't think he would get traded. And trust me, we'll talk a lot about potential guys that could get traded and teams that could be interested about, for certain guys. But a little thing now, I don't know why the A's would trade Shea Langoliers and who would be willing to pay up for him unless there was some clear evidence or they had some people that could really attest to how well he's calling games and how well he's working with the pitchers and stuff like that. Because it's kind of fallen out of fashion for teams to really pay up big in free agency or the trade market for offense first catchers that have a poor defensive reputation. And I bet you Shea still has a poor defensive reputation among people who aren't, entrenched in baseball this year and watching most days. So I hope all that, I hope he's around for a while, and can continue to develop and maybe develop into such a good player that it would take a haul to get him out of here. Because at a certain point, unless the A's literally don't care about baseball, which I think they do. I think that, it's ironic where it's like, I don't think teams should make winning moves and should make little sneaky $3 million signings and get this bullpen guy for this and do this and stack up their depth until they're ready to really go for it. Otherwise, it's a waste of resources. So I think the A's shouldn't like try desperately to win this year or next year for that matter. Don't know if that's just, harsh or not, but I do think that at a certain point you have to start looking around the team and start saying, who do we want to be here for a little while? Who's going to start to, be a part of the eventual core of the next winning A's team? And obviously the part of the answer to that is a lot of guys that currently aren't on the A's are going to be part of that core whenever it is. But that core is not going to, that team, I should say, that winning A's team, it's not going to happen for a long time until the A's of today start thinking about that team. So Shea Langoliers, who's still super young and is growing defensively and obviously always profiled as a good hitter, that could be a guy that you want to stay with your organization for a long time. We've seen so many catchers. The best catchers, man, can mean so much more to a team than anyone would think, especially the best defensive guys for literally the on the field stuff. But it's been said, catcher's by far the most important position in baseball, with the exception of pitcher, but that's even arguable. But it's one of the most important positions in all of sports, so Shea's banging, and that is such a good thing for this current team as well as the future of this team potentially.
Yeah, I agree. He's just kind of like he's part of their identity, and that's, in a time where the A's are struggling to find one, that's important to have that, somebody who can be a cornerstone of the offense and just as the team identity.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. That was one of the, I'm pretty sure we talked about it in one of the first couple episodes of the entire pod, but like, that was one of the biggest question marks of the season. One of the biggest X factors was like Shea Langoliers at the time. I remember I thought could have looked like he looks now, or a little bit better or a little bit worse, but kind of generally where he is now, or he could have looked the same or worse, and I wouldn't have been terribly surprised. So it's so cool to see a guy kind of surpass, if not expectations, then just what was the literally probable for them, in terms of how much success he's going to have. So good stuff.
Yeah, man.
Drop the mic.
Drop mic.
Won't actually, because it could break the mic.
Yeah, I could.
Don't want to do that.
Well, I have a way that we can send off today's episode. If you are all set, I have a way that I can send it off.
I have one quick thing I have a hunch. I think I know what you might do. I have one little thing I want to talk about before you do the greatest thing this pod's ever done. Yeah, one little note. You briefly mentioned by mistake bat speed. Yes, the secret's out. Bat speed, it's new on the streets. It's the new cool kid on the block. Bat speed literally is what, if you haven't heard of the new baseball savant metric, it is what you would think is literally the speed of the bat as it's moving through the strike zone when a hitter swings. And I will go here. Will stop me if, because I know that you are still onboarding yourself to this too. So let me know if, just as, an extension of the audience, if something's confusing to you. But yeah, so bat speed, the average bat speed in Major League Baseball is 71.7 miles per hour, which means that, yeah, like I said, literally the speed of their bat going through the strike zone is 71.7 miles per hour. Over 75 miles per hour for a swing is considered squared up, which just means a really well hit ball, literally why they called it squared up. And 82 plus is blasts. And you're not going to see too many individual players have a lot of these themselves. They're pretty hard to get. 82 miles an hour is wild when you think about it. The average bat speed 71, a full 10 miles an hour faster. it almost seems like, just, I won't say impossible, but just hard to do that. And then you look at Giancarlo Stanton, you're like, oh, that's how you do it.
Yep. I was gonna say like he's got the fastest bat speed by like a country mile.
Exactly. But here, I'm just going here. Part of the reason I want to bring this up, there's a couple of funny A's things as it pertains to bat speed. One of them, so 9 qualifying players on the A's, which there can only be like 10 or 11 guys that qualify with that bats right now on the A's. 9 of them have above average bat speed. Your A's, they bang, they swing the bat kind of hard. But there's a king. There's someone that rises above all of them. Someone who swings the bat not just the hardest, by far the hardest on the team. And wouldn't you know it, but that would be our good friend Lawbutt. Lawbutt's average bat speed, 74.3. The next highest would be Shea Langoliers with 73.6, almost a full mile per hour slower. And Lawrence Butler's fast swing rate is 43.6%. So that's how many swings of his are above 75 miles per hour, 43.6%. Shea and Brent Rooker both at 36 and 34 respectively, which are very good, but then you look at some of the other guys are like JD Davis, 17% to Lawbutt's 43.6. You've got JJ Bleday, who's been playing well, 17.5. Zach Geloff, 12.7. So that's like real. Like the difference between like, let's say Kyle McCann at 34.8 and Seth Brown at 28.5, especially when both have not necessarily had the most consistent playing time. It is what it is. But Lawrence Butler at 43% when the league average, I'll just toggle it again here. The league average is 23.6. He's a full 20 percentage points higher than the league average of fast swing rate. And when you look at the top 10, 20 guys and bat speed, while you'll find some guys that stand out as being exceptions, for the most part, even if they're not perfect MLB hitters, and Stanton by all means is not a perfect, and he's actually a below average hitter at this point, but it matters. Stanton, his hits, they're different. It's one of the first ways we can really measure just when you see a guy and you're like, holy crap, that guy seems like he's hitting the ball really hard. It sounds funny, but like now I feel like we can truly measure how that's happening, for lack of better words, and it does correlate. I mentioned the top 20 guys thing to say. I would say about 6 or 17 of them are really good MLB hitters. Wow. And it just feels there's a reason Baseball Savant has put this stat out there. This does not happen often. Baseball Savant doesn't just include new stats or record new stats willy-nilly. It's very difficult to put something like this together. They make it worth their while. This matters. What Baseball Savant and MLB is trying to tell us right now, kind of whispering because it's a new thing, but I bet you as spin rate and all these things pick up more steam, more years that they're around, I bet you baseball's going to continue to tell us this matters. Bat speed matters. Not every time, it's not a one-to-one thing, but generally if you have a higher bat speed, you are a better hitter. So the fact that Lawrence Butler not only has the highest bat speed on the team, but is just crushing the Major League average. He is on those top 30 lists of all Major League Baseball. Then you look at his stats and his performance. He was sent down on the, from the Oakland A's because of performance. And it's just something that, I don't think it's anything that you or I could provide anything too much more insightful than what I just kind of read off of Baseball Savant right now in terms of what the numbers are. But I think we can wrap this up with Butler by saying, like, I'm hopeful after seeing this and delving into it, I'm hopeful that there could be, really something there and just some more reps in the minors and kind of getting his mechanics back if he need to. I just think that kind of like you can't teach speed, you can't really teach bat speed, it seems like. And want to know how I know that? Remember when they said Nick Allen was at the Driveline Baseball camp really working on his hitting all off season, which he was. I'm not trying to speculate if that was true or not. And And not to hate on Nick Allen, I've tried to be positive about him at all times. He's in the minors grinding right now. But Nick Allen's average bat speed is 64.7, which
Yeah, I
has
see
him in
that.
the bottom
That's
5%
disgusting.
of all of baseball. A full 10% or 10 miles per hour lower than Lawrence Butler's, which 10 miles per hour in some contexts on a highway might not mean all the difference in the world. Here, it's the difference between having not much of a future as a quality hitter in Major League Baseball and potentially something that can point you towards the next stud in Major League Baseball. So we'll see. It could mean not as much. It could not materialize. It could just be another case of, oh, look at all of Joe Adele's, stats and StatCast, this and that. And then he goes out there and it's like, this guy's hitting 190 for a lot of years. Maybe he's not a top prospect anymore. So, we'll see. Something to keep your eye on is Lawrence Butler and the fact that he can just do something physically that very few other baseball players can. And something that puts him in a similar bracket to Giancarlo Stanton in a strength-based category. So I thought that was important to bring up. And do I have anything else on bat speed? My favorite little niche stat as it pertains to bat speed is swords. Now, what a sword is...
I looked this up today. I love the concept of a sword.
Right? Yeah, so I'll explain it to the audience. What a sword is when a batter starts swinging at a pitch, they decide they don't want to. Half of the way through, they make a really feeble check swing attempt, or they swing through just any potential ugly swing. And we've all seen it. If you watch baseball, you know what I'm talking about. That's what a sword is. So, and you don't see a lot. It seems like they're not generous with it, and they're not saying like, oh, that looked pretty ugly. Like, it's really those awful, ugly swings that end up on not top 10. That's what a sword is. And Michael Kelly is tied for the most swords on the team with 5 as a relief pitcher, which is kind of nuts to me. Just pitching however many less, a fifth, a sixth of the innings as our starters have, and he's tied for the most swords. So good on Michael Kelly. And whenever he's out there on the mound, look out for him to just make someone look stupid and to give their child 10 years from then ammunition for whenever they're grounded. That's what Michael Kelly's doing. And
that's exactly what he's going to use it for, I'm sure.
I'm trying to think of the context of him. Like, he's in a argument with some previous baseball player and just sends him like a gif of him swording him.
Yeah.
That's the world I want to live in. But yeah, just fun stuff. I don't think I am qualified to go too much deeper into bat speed and talk about, what it all means and stuff. But that's a few fun things. And yeah, I implore anyone to go on to Baseball Savant and look at some of this bat speed stuff. It's kind of uncharted territory. It's very new to Baseball Savant. It's got a million little intricate things like swords. I keep pronouncing that W pretty heavily. Swords. I don't know. I feel like we should hit that W a little harder. But
that's the sound that's the sound.
Sword. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But Funnyball, A's and swords impressions. But yeah. So it's just definitely a fun little 10 minutes poke around, see what you find type thing. That's all I got on bat speed for now. We'll see if anything changes. And if when Lawbutt comes up, let's say, what if he's swinging the bat even harder? Or what if he was swinging the bat too hard? We'll see. I bet you there'll be one guy at some point in the next 10 years that they try to make the case for him. Like, oh, he was putting too much into those swings. He's got to be a little bit more level, and he's uppercutting when he's swinging too hard. So he's got to reduce the bat speed. Like, I just love when new big stats get introduced, because then you've got all of these cause, effect, and variable, discussions and debates that can spawn from it. So yeah, fun. And I'll let you have the floor here for the. I'll yield my time the rest of the way here.
Hey Trevor, can you give me a number?
Any number?
Any number, 1 to 100, actually.
You want me to give you any number?
Yep.
How about 49?
49?
Yeah.
Why 49?
It's one away from 50, which is like half of 100, which would be like half of 200, which is pretty cool.
You know what else is also 49?
What?
The amount of games that the A's have played this year. Believe it or not.
Ooh. Wow. What a coincidence.
If you got a stopwatch on you, no, we'll probably just throw one up here. I'm gonna recap.
Yeah, we'll throw it on the screen, but I'll get one up here too.
I'm gonna recap every game the A's have played so far this season in 2 minutes.
That sounds like a incredibly complex, nonsensical thing to do, Will. But I'm here for it.
Yep,
I will support you.
We're doing all kinds of funky things on this pod. I'm gonna recap 49 games in under 2 minutes. Are you ready?
Yeah, give me the go. When you say a go, I'm starting the clock.
All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Guardians at A's, Game 1, Bieber time, baby. Game 2, no fans, no wins. Game 3, Searcy Stars. Game 4, walk-off win, first win. Red Sox at A's, Game 1, 5-error game. Game 2, A's losing 11. Game 3, snooze fest, A's suck. A's at Tigers, Game 1, Gio Urshela killed us. Game 2, dub number 2. Game 3, dub number 3. A's at Rangers, Game 1, A New Hope. Game 2, The Empire Strikes Back. Game 3, Return of the Jedi. Nationals at A's, Game 1, A's win in 10. Game 2, A's get gored, Mackenzie Gourd. Game 3, Comeback Kids featuring Lucas Urseg and Mason Miller. Parental advisory for explicit content. Cardinals at A's, Game 1, Sonny Gray Suns the A's. Game 2, Jimenez is not him. Game 3, Esther Ruiz saves the series. A's at Guardians, Game 1, Joe Boyle died for like the 3rd time. Game 2, Naylor nails us. Game 3, Naylor nails us again. A's at Yankees, Game 1, we're so back. Game 2, it's over. Game 3, it's Jofer. Game 4, we never left. A's at Orioles, Game 1, Kimbrel does his thing. Game 2, Ross gets Moss. Game 3, Kimbrel does his thing again. Pirates at A's, Game 1, Nevin rules the high seas. Game 2, Blade Day. Game 3, Rush tripling win sighting. Marlins at A's. Game 1, the A's are making the playoffs. Game 2, the A's are winning the World Series. Game 3, the A's are no longer winning the World Series. Rangers at A's. Game 1, Corey Heartbreaker Seager. Game 2, the A's are no longer making the playoffs. Game 3, the Shea Langoliers game. Game 4, the Shea Langoliers game, but this time they lose. A's at Mariners. Game 1, Blackburn gets burned. Game 2, Joey SD's nuts, but the good one. Game 3, Julio Rodriguez impresses his mama. A's at Astros, Game 1, A's can't catch a break, man. Game 2, Ronel Blanco doesn't stick around. Game 3, 2 hits, that's all you get. Game 4, Joey SD's nuts, but the bad one. A's at Royals, Game 1, Brandon B. Lacken. Game 2, Salvador President. Game 3, comedy comes in threes. Stop the clock. Where are we at?
2 minutes.
Exactly?
I bet you if I stopped it right when you said stop the clock, yes, we're at 2.21 right now.
Okay.
Well, not yeah. 2 minutes flat in 21 milliseconds.
Wow. Okay.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty good.
Dang. Okay.
I will say though, my clock. I went to a different tab on my computer quickly, and the clock like froze for a second, but it looks like it caught back up. We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. I'll put it up on the thing in post. So we'll see where we landed at. But that was
for our beautiful audio
games.
listeners. You've got to put some edit some edit in of you telling them what the real time was, or like some Siri voice, saying what the final time was. Because 2 minutes 21, I think that's what it was. But I don't want to sell you short either. That was solid.
Thank you.
That was lived up to the expectations I had for it. Definitely the greatest thing either of us have done on this podcast. And it gets me super jazzed for the next 49.
Here's to the next 49 games for the A's. We will see you in, I'm going to guess probably like, what? August July at that rate.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably like end of July at that rate. And I will probably do this again with the next 49 games Because
This is
why
a
not?
really great tradition that we've started. It's fun. It's a little hard for me. I have to load up a stopwatch and like be keeping track of time and stuff like that. Will gets off easy with this segment,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good one. You can expect this to come back. That's
All
for
right.
sure.
Well,
But Will,
yeah.
after that iconic Game 7 performance of yours right there, do you have anything else about the A's that has happened, has yet to happen, is happening in your head right now? Anything else?
What's happening right now is that the A's heard this and they think that we're like geniuses for like the episode that we just put out. We actually just eclipsed around like an hour and a half. So this is like a gargantuan episode.
It's the 49th episode anniversary, you know? It's
That's our 9th episode.
the 49th game anniversary, yeah. Do you think if we like just called this one the 49th episode, people would notice that we didn't do 48, technically 41 other episodes? Think we could get away with that?
Probably not. Probably not. I think like enough people would probably notice that. Or
right.
we would just like blow their mind and be like, "Oh my god, I like missed like 41 episodes of Funnyball." Probably not.
Exactly. Here's an Easter egg. Once we're kind of above 300, I swear, Will, I'm going to force you to do it if you don't want to do it at the time. We're going to like skip 24 episodes or something and see if someone notices. I swear. After a few hundred in our belt, I'm going to make that happen.
All
and
right.
Oh, here we go. And if we do it and you notice it happened, the first one to email us, what do they get, Will?
They get a t-shirt. They get a t-shirt.
What of?
I don't know what of, but you're going to get a t-shirt.
Mystery t-shirt?
Mystery t-shirt.
I like that.
I'm going to keep it open-ended because I just kind of said that, but that's what you're going to get if you manage to see that happen and you email us. That's what you get.
Can't wait for that to come full circle. Okay. Will, anything else? The things we do for the pod. Things we do for love. Love is the pod. Pod is love.
Yeah. So, well, the next 49 games will start with I believe a 3-game series against the Rockies. That is going to be a series at home. That is going to be a series at home against the Rockies. And the starting pitcher who was projected for that game is Aaron Brooks. And we'll see if Aaron Brooks can follow up what was an unexpected masterclass performance in Game 3 against the Houston Astros.
It's like a masterclass performance if you like paid $5 for it. You know, like, well, holy crap, that was definitely worth more than $5. But
I also think it's so funny because he's actually
class now.
They're after the 3-game series against the Rockies, they're going to play the Houston Astros again for another 3-game series, and Aaron Brooks is projected to pitch in that series. So we will really see what Aaron Brooks is made of, and I know you all will be watching that too. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 9 of Funnyball.
One last thing.
Oh.
The A's are the best team in baseball when batting in 0-1 counts. Just take pitches, guys. Take the first pitch.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, literally the best OPS in baseball when trailing 0-1 in the count. Take the first pitch. Shay, come on.
No kidding.
That's all I got.
That's a fun stat. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
got a little giddy no Josh when I saw
that. Giddy no Josh is crazy work to describe giddiness for something.
Oh, man. I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And
thank you everyone for tuning in, catching some funny ball. The A's are not playing well. I want them to play better, but you know, they've played so well at other times. It's kind of like, do you guys? If this is what has to happen, it's gotta happen that way. Hopefully you guys will tune in to the next time we do an episode. Hopefully at the latest after the next couple series, sometime around then. We're going to try to go live starting, you know, I don't want to say that's going to happen too soon, but, you know, at some point pretty soon, we're going to start going live, and you can expect the episodes pretty soon after the series ends. So that's going to be fun. And, yeah, just keep coming back. We'll keep doing this. Now we'll get better at this, you know, just like the A's are going to get better. Maybe.
I mean, you know, we're like probably roughly a little under a third of the way into the season. So there's a lot of time to turn around or get worse, you know.
49 games in, baby. 49
Yep.
games in.
Magic number 49.
But anyway, Will, last words?
Peace. That's my last word.
Peace.